Hello everybody, welcome to another installment of Life Stories. My name is Trent, and as per usual, we are back with more stories from Reddit/idontworkherelady. So get what you need, snacks, drinks, toiletries, I don't know man, we're getting started now. Our first story is titled, and a bit topical, I choose to blame it on the virus panic. This happened to my neighbor/best friend/boss, BFF, and me today. A little background important to the story. We're both red-headed women. Both work for the same law enforcement department. I generally work nights. She generally works days. We were both told to take today off after working 3 36-hour shifts with only a few hours of sleep between because of dealing with the panic from a certain virus that, aside from a couple of travelers, hasn't hit our area yet. Since we both needed stuff, BFF and I grabbed BFF's two offspring, OFF1 and OFF2, and head for a certain store that's a local chain that's something like a slimmed-down W-Mart. The uniform of their employees is black slacks, a white polo, and an apron that varies by department. BFF is dressed in flats, casual pants, and a white button-down over a cami and her vest. I'm in blue jeans, knee-high boots, and a department t-shirt over my vest. In other words, nothing like the store's uniform. Plus, we have, belts with handcuffs, guns, and holsters. We're in the store for about half an hour. I'm pushing one cart, OFF1 is pushing the other, while BFF is holding OFF2 in one arm and pulling things off the shelf with the other. Suddenly, we hear a loud crash and a scream in the next aisle. BFF passes OFF2 off to me, telling me to watch her, and heads over to the next aisle. She barely makes it around the corner when I hear her call for me. I set OFF2 down, tell her to wait with OFF1, and come around the corner. Here is the sight I see. One young woman, her head slightly bleeding, trying to free herself from the grasp of a crazy blonde lady, probably roughly in her late 30s to late 40s, while a man and a few kids look on. Crazy lady looks up at BFF and immediately says, "Oh good, are you the manager of this crappy store? This lazy chick refuses to help me. I want her fired." She then jerks the young woman so hard that the young woman runs into the shelves, cutting herself a second time. "Ma'am, let her go," BFF says flatly. "I don't think she works here." "What do you mean you don't think she works here? Don't you know your own employees? What kind of stupid idiot manager are you?" BFF looks at me. I look at BFF, then look back at the crazy lady, giving her my most wicked smile. "I'd say she knows her employees pretty well," I remarked. "However, that lady doesn't work for this store. She's not wearing the uniform." "Tell your freaking security grunt to be silent," crazy lady spouts off. Mama?" One of the kids urgently starts. "I don't think she's security." "Shut up, Marco," which was not his real name. "Can't you see Mama's talking to the manager?" "Ma'am, I'm not the manager," BFF says, pointing to the store manager, who's now hurrying over. "He is. Now let go of the girl. I won't ask you again." She starts reaching for her handcuffs. "Freaking lying idiot! You white folks are all the same. Racist and sticking up for each other." Rather ironic, considering that the crazy lady was paler than I am, and that's saying something. At that moment, OFF2 came running around the corner. "Hey, is it okay if I..." Crazy lady finally let go of the terrified and injured girl and then grabbed OFF2, flinging her halfway down the aisle. "Stupid brat! Wait your turn, you stupid little..." Wham! Crazy lady stopped talking as she ricocheted off shelves. "Don't ever touch my daughter again," BFF told her as she tried to handcuff the crazy lady. At this point, the man that had been standing with the kids tries to grab onto BFF and winds up taking a knee to the groin for his trouble. Crazy lady takes advantage of the moment, pushes BFF off, grabs a jar off the shelf to swing towards BFF's head, and freezes as she realizes I've drawn my weapon. Her eyes go wide. "I'll call corporate and have you fired for this," she hissed. I guess crazy lady didn't see anything wrong with having a weapon herself and trying to use it. But somehow someone else with a weapon stopping her from potentially killing someone is a bad thing. "Mama!" the little boy screamed. "I've been trying to tell you, they don't work here. That lady's the police. Look at her shirt." She looked down at my shirt, and she definitely got that look people get when they realize they're in serious trouble. Wish I could say the fight left her then. Instead, as she was Mirandized, she kept insisting that she had done nothing wrong, and that she was being entrapped by the police. After Crazy Lady and the man that tried to grab BFF were cuffed, given their rights, and sat on the floor, the manager helped me watch over the two while BFF went and checked on OFF2 while we waited on someone actually on duty and for medics to arrive. The entire thing took maybe 5 minutes, from the time we heard the crash until the end, another 10 for coworkers and medics to arrive. The young woman that was first assaulted had to go to the hospital to be checked out. Poor girl was really scared she was going to catch something at the hospital. OFF2 had her arm broken and also had to go to the hospital. The man and kids turned out to be her boyfriend and their children. Crazy Lady and boyfriend are now in jail for the foreseeable future since courts are closed. Crazy Lady's kids are going to social services. BF was still in the process of applying for his green card. Now, he probably can't get it and may be facing deportation at the end of all this. Since the injured girl, BFF, and I couldn't finish our shopping, the manager took our list and promised that everything would be delivered to our houses tomorrow. Before anyone asks, we are not required to wear our vests off duty, but most of us do. As for why we have our guns and badges while shopping with kids, in our department, certain ranks are required to carry weapons, badges, and cuffs while off duty. Oh, and this whole thing apparently started because the store was out of toilet paper and the crazy lady deciding the girl stocking up on pickles must be an employee. And that's the end of that one. Kind of goes to show that in these crazy times, you gotta make sure you're staying safe, staying clean as well, but there will be people who are driven to desperation during what's going on right now. So just be safe, guys, and I hope things worked out for you, OP. I mean, she was also clearly crazy, but heh. Moving on from that, our next story is titled, I know you're washing your dog, but... I'm in a local do-it-yourself dog washing spot. It gets busy on Sunday nights, so I put Doggo's name on the list and wait in line. I love this spot. It has 5 little cubicles, and each one has its own tub and drying spot. All the shampoos and conditioners you can imagine, and a blow dryer. They even give you little rubber aprons so you don't get soaking wet. There's always one person at the front checking people in, cleaning tubs for the next user, and charging people out. Everything else you do yourself, hence the do-it-yourself description. I'm elbow deep in suds and a super sad border collie when a man pops his head around my cubicle wall. I smile and nod and just keep scrubbing. A few minutes, he pops his head around again and looks at me expectantly. It's a little weird, so I ignore him and he goes away. Hooray? Not so fast. He walks around into the cubicle, sighs heavily, raises his eyebrows, and puts his hands on his hips. He's like a 12-year-old me sassing my mother, which got me grounded, by the way. I look up, startled, and he says impatiently, "Can you please stop that and check me out? We've been waiting for ages." I'm a little confused. I say, "I'm sorry, what do you want?" I think he believes I don't speak English, and so he slowly overly enunciates every word. I want to pay. So I clearly enunciate every word back at him. I don't work here. He keeps staring impatiently at me. I'm just washing my dog, you know, like you just finished doing. Just then, the actual employee shows up. She'd been cleaning out the bathtub and calls him over. He at least had the decency to turn bright red, and I'm half sure I heard an apology in his muttering as he walked away. What happened to all that clear diction when it came to my apology? On the bright side, my dog was heaps cuter than his. I bet it was, OP. I bet it was. I love border collies. And moving along, our next story is titled, This I Don't Work Here Lady Post Will Haunt You. The setting, an American Revolutionary War Museum. The cast, M, manager, CK, Crazy Karen. The story, CK is touring the Revolutionary War Museum and wanders out to the guest house on the grounds of the museum. CK wanders off to explore the guest house on her own. As she makes her way around, she stumbles upon a man dressed like a colonial soldier that she assumes is an employee of the museum. She starts asking him questions, but he doesn't even acknowledge her. Of course, CK starts to get mad and tells him he's an employee of the museum and she's a paying guest. She demands that he assist her with her questions. Still, he ignores her. After a while, she starts yelling at him and demanding to know his name. He still won't respond to her and acts as if he doesn't notice her. Finally, she lets loose a tirade about how she's going to find the manager and get him fired. CK storms off and goes to the front desk of the museum and demands to see M. She lets loose a tirade about how rude his employee in the guest house is, and that he won't help the guests or answer any of her questions, and she demands that M fire the employee. The manager tries to tell her that they don't have any employees in the guest house, but CK will hear none of it. She knows it was one of his employees because he was dressed as a colonial soldier. He refused to tell her his name because he knows he's going to get fired when she tells M how rude he was to her. M is left speechless. CK gets even more mad because she isn't getting a response from M that she finds acceptable. The manager finally has to tell her that over the years, he's had dozens of guests tell him about the colonial soldier in the guest house that ignores them when they try to talk to them. He can't fire the employee in the guest house because he's a ghost! But this is the first time he's ever had someone demanding him to fire a ghost. Congratulations on that, CK. Well, I was expecting that would end in, it being a mannequin or something, but hey, ghost stories, we can mix it up, I guess. Even though October and Halloween was months ago. And with that bit of a curveball of a story out of the way, that's all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you once again so much for tuning in to another episode of Life Stories. My name is Trent. You guys know what to do. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the Life Stories channel for more content coming your way, and I hope to see you guys soon.